Hello, everyone, and welcome to NEOM's House. Thank you for joining us in this live session. We have today Nathan Homer from NEOM Sports Sector. He's the commercial director of the sports sector, and Nathan is joining us live from NEOM. Do I have the camera?
Hello, everybody.
Hi, Nathan. So I'll start by giving an introduction about Nathan. Nathan is the commercial director of NEOM Sports Sector. He's joining us with a significant experience in the commercial industry. He has worked in world's leading company in their industries like PG, Barclays, Sky, and specifically in sports in the DP World Golf Tour, Ryder Cup, and multiple other companies. He has led global partnerships with International Olympics Committee, International English Premier League, and NFL. And as the commercial director, Nathan has a key responsibility for building commercial and operating, I need some water. Commercial and operating models for NEOM and NEOM Sports Assets. Hi, Nathan.
Hi, Sarah. How are you doing? And welcome to everybody in Switzerland. I was very lucky to live in Switzerland for 10 years, so it's a pleasure to be back there, even if only virtually today.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for your time. I'll start with the first question, Nathan. Tell us, please, a general overview of NEOM Sports Sector and its role in the development of NEOM, and why is it core sector?
NEOM Sport, fits, we would obviously feel, brilliantly into particularly the livability part of NEOM. Sport and physical well-being needs to be at the centre of people's lives and to be healthy, and people that are healthy can then contribute in every other way to the base economy and the broader ecosystem of the region and the kingdom. And so our job really is to create that ecosystem that enables an active lifestyle and for people to participate in whatever way they want. We assume that will start, a relatively basic day-to-day level, like the sport that, I play, and I'm sure many people in the room may play, or the activity people choose to do. And then on top, we'll create pathways that allow people to progress, again, in whatever way they want, whether that's just to improve, their own performance and skill levels in various types of activity, or whether it's to have the potential to take that right through to elite level sport. And we'll also develop high performance centres, high performance hubs, where elite athletes are coming to train, both from the Saudi federations and teams, but also internationally as well. And we've already started to see that happen at one of the centres that we've already got open, and with one of the key events, the beach games, which I'll talk a little bit more about later. We also work, very closely with the tech and innovation sectors to look at how do we bring that to life in new and better ways. We know that there's better ways for people to be able to access physical activity. Even things like effective booking systems can make a big difference to how simple it is for people to just get on and do the activity they want to do. And it can enhance their experience by giving them more feedback, more data, more information that they can build their performance and activity around. We're really lucky here. We've got an amazing natural playground in NEOM. It's certainly one of the things that I enjoy most about living here, and you can get a small flavour of that behind me from the sea and the beach you can see from the Super Triathlon event that we had. We absolutely know NEOM can be a core centre for adventure sport tourism, for example, which is a booming global trend. And I know you had Niall on yesterday from the tourism sector talking about that, and we work closely with that team to look at, how is the offering we're developing playing into their broader mix that they're doing from the tourism point of view. We've got our pilot open. The image you can see behind me, is from our Adventure Sports Hub that is live. It's open in NEOM. Our communities and our people are actively participating in 6 land-based sports, climbing, mountain biking, through to water-based activities such as diving, snorkeling, kayaking, paddleboarding. But we also have, as I said, elite-based athletes here. We've hosted the NEOM Beach Games at this site, bringing Olympic and world champions in their sports to participate in some leading events with partners such as FIFA and FIBA. We also bring tech and innovation to life. So whilst this is a place as an adventure sports hub that people can come and be active, we're also showcasing some of the innovative technology that we've developed around the marine ecosystems here. So we've mapped comprehensively the reefs and some of the other marine infrastructure under the water here. And one of the pieces that we're literally building right now, I've just been and seen the development, is a dive cave. And what this is essentially a 360-degree immersive experience that is as close as you can get to being under the water without getting wet. So you really go and stand in this cave, and the floor, the ceiling, the walls, you're entirely surrounded as if you were just suspended under the water. And you can look at the marine ecosystem that we have along the stunning coastline here. And you can look at that from whatever angle you want, whether it's purely helping you prepare for a dive that you want to go out to do and what you might see, or from a much more educational angle in terms of the marine wildlife and pieces here. So again, that's somewhere where we're working with our nature sector and the education sector to bring that to life. And that's something that we think is a pilot that can come from around the world. And as I mentioned, we've had events here, and events are wonderful for showcasing what NEOM has to offer now and what it will have to offer in the future. And in sport, that again is elite level events. The beach games, as I say, we've had 6 world leading federations bring part of their global calendar here. And we were extremely proud in just using triathlon, which is the image that's behind me. We had 6 of the 11 Paris medalists here from the summer, including the men's race here. It was the same gold, silver, bronze as finished in Paris. And the feedback from the athletes, when they've been, is really stunning. They don't know what to expect, and what they find tends to blow them away. And that really helps us more critically bring in a lot of the local talent that we want to develop, and a lot of the local capability that we know we need to develop to be able to deliver events, both here and across the kingdom, and expose them to a world-class environment and say, look, this is how things are done, and we can use that as part of our core training and core development of local talent, that can go on and continue to deliver events. We do that down at a more regional level as well through some of the activities we do, and we do it at a community level. So, for us, it's just as important, the community events we run, whether it's a 5K community run, a community triathlon, a community football tournament. Those aspects are as important, but that events infrastructure from, simple everyday participation right up to elite level needs skills that we need to develop. So yeah, lots of ways that sport's really contributing to NEOM's broader overall mission.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Nathan. And I'll come back to the details of what people can do on the weekends and the Adventure Sports Hub, because I get a lot of questions on this. And some people actually are still surprised that there are some people living there. I'll get back to the weekend activities. But I first want to ask, we always talk about the NEOMs values, and we always say that livability and work-life balance is amazing in NEOM and NEOM's base camp. I want to ask specifically, how the sports sector is helping deliver projects or assets or achievements that helps NEOM's strategy in livability, business, and sustainability, and all of these values.
Yeah, I'll probably pick an example for each of those 3. So, in terms of livability, as I've sort of just described, the assets we're developing are in the fabric of every development. So whether you're down at the port, a manufacturing zone in Oxagon, whether you're up in the resorts in Magna, whether you're in Tregenna in the mountains, or within the line, or on the islands, all of them will have the assets that you need for physical activity. And our role is to work with those development teams to make sure we're putting in the right type, the right amount, and the right kind of assets for people, whether they're living here, second homing here, working here, or visiting here, to be physically active. And that's either a secondary reason that they're here, but a really important one, or it's a primary reason for them to come. It can be a reason they choose this as a place to come and live and work over other places, or for visitation, as we've said. There's a very active sports tourism market, which we think NEOM has a fantastic opportunity to become a world-leading destination in. So, in terms of the livability, we really touch and work across all of the regions here. As we've talked a bit about events. Events are really a core capability and expertise building, and they also help us showcase, NEOM on a global stage. We get the chance to have other people talking about what a stunning place NEOM is, how it's developing year on year. Again, I'll use the example. You can see, Supertry have been coming here since we started the beach games. Every year when they come, they comment on the development they can see, the pace of change, the way things are coming on. And those endorsements from their CEO, their chair, their board, their athletes is extremely powerful, and helps us tell that story of NEOM. And our partnerships are the same. We use, we're very lucky to have partners in, for those who may not know, we have partnerships with McLaren, we have partnerships with the Rajasthan Royals, we have partnerships with the Asian Football Confederation. And they allow us to tell that story on a global scale. Some of them obviously allow us to access markets more directly. So, the Royals are a fantastic vehicle for us in the Indian market specifically. The Asian Football Confederation, is very strong across all of Asia, but football is particularly popular both here at home in the kingdom, across the region, and in some of our key markets like Japan, like Korea, like Australia. So, we have the ability through those partnerships to take the story of NEOM, whether it's some of the regions specifically, or it's NEOM as a whole, and go engage with investors, with business partners, in those markets. They also are world-class companies, and they help. And I'll talk a little bit more probably later about, how they help us develop our talent here. They are high-performing organisations, through what they try and achieve in their sporting endeavours. But often that's very replicable into what we need to do at a corporate level.
Amazing. Okay, Nathan, there are a lot of, we all have seen and noticed there's a big movement in sports in Saudi, and there's a big investment on the talent development and getting people into sports and investing in their time and talent to basically get in their sports and competitions. Can you please walk us through your strategy or approach for talent development in NEOM, and specifically in sports?
Yeah, sport has to be accessible to everybody. That's a fundamental, sport and physical activity and wellness, are everybody's right. And as we develop our programs here, we absolutely are focused that, that needs to be open and equal for everybody, whoever they are. And as I said, wherever they're coming here, whether permanently or temporarily or as a visitor. We've got several programs that have been active that I think we're rightly proud of. Shoe Hub is a program we launched to help, engage people into football across the kingdom, and particularly within the Tabuk region when we're based. And we've had over 10,000 children engage into that. And, when I say children, that is girls and boys, equally, as we've run the programs. And we designed the programs, specifically to enable people to come in and feel comfortable and feel happy to try sports or activity that, they may have not felt were for them, or they didn't feel comfortable doing. And, we build those programs with schools, whether it's, with the NEOM schools and education piece, or working, with partners in the NEOM, the Tabuk region that can help us, design those. A simple example of that would link across to, say, some of the work we've done on women's sport would be our cricket program. So we run a cricket workforce program for the past couple of years. We're very proud that, last year we doubled the number of players, we doubled the number of companies involved. We actually had nearly 160 contracting companies involved last year in NEOM. We had over 2,000 people attend the final, which for a cricket match is pretty remarkable, I think, in Saudi. And we also developed the first ever women's cricket program here. And again, we had a match at the finals day, from the women playing, many of whom had never played before. They said, I've watched my brother, nephew, son play. I've just never had the access to do it or felt comfortable to do it. And, breaking those barriers and giving that access is a crucial part of what we do. We see the benefit of that, and we can see the passion and the desire for that across, the activity that we offer. We've, I'd say, shown that support and that desire, for equality more broadly. Our partnership with the Asian Football Confederation includes us being the presenting partner of the first ever Asian Women's Champions League, which is an important statement for football across Asia, and a really important part of our broader partnership in football in the kingdom. We work very closely with the base economy partners across sport and football. I'll just use an example where we work, with the Ministry of Sport, with the Saudi Football Federation, with Sport for All, to really make sure we're encompassing all the aspects of football that we can contribute to. And we've actually just a couple of days ago published the first ever research report on the state of women's football in the kingdom, both looking at participation and how that's grown, incredibly over the past few years. There's over 77,000 girls and women playing football every week now. But also looking at the infrastructure that's required to further drive that on. And that's not just facilities and pitches, but again, it's the ecosystem around that. It's the coaches, it's the referees, it's the tournament organising infrastructures, as well as some of the more simple things like kit and other pieces. So, we work, very closely with them to see what we can do to facilitate and take the lead there where it's appropriate, or be a supporting partner to them. And other, places that we work at looking at how do we offer things that maybe are not available through other places. So McLaren, we've run a wide-ranging high-performance program with, but that gets delivered at many levels. So we take that into school, where it sort of comes to life as a STEM program. We bring it into our employees, where it really comes alive as a leadership and high performance program that all employees have access to. And then we run specific programs for senior leaders. We've run a health and wellbeing online program with them, which has proved extremely popular. We've had 25% of our workforce attending some of the sessions online, which is, remarkable, really. As well as, we place graduates into the McLaren Technical Centre for 6 months to a year for them to really engage into that organisation. And people, again, normally think, they're going to learn about sport. They're actually not. They're going to work in the engineering department. They're going to work in the finance department. They're going to work in the marketing department. And those are skills that can come back and both benefit NEOM and NEOM more broadly. But also, we're now looking at how do we roll those skill programs out to benefit, more broadly the graduate program here at NEOM and even beyond NEOM and into the kingdom.
Amazing. Thank you so much. You have also talked about some partnerships with the Saudi Federation, Sports for All, and all of these enabling arms in Saudi specifically for Saudi, and that's amazing. I know there's a big movement in Saudi for sports. Last question from me, and then I'm going to take some questions from people. Let's get back to the Adventure Sports Hub, or what people can do in NEOM weekends or after work. What kind of sports, if you can just go through the sports that can be done, the type of nature, the amazing waters, and if we are going to see new sports in the Adventure Sports Hub.
Yeah, the sports hub specifically, I listed some of them earlier. We run diving, snorkeling, kayaking, paddleboarding. We've got a climbing wall, which it actually is a really good example of recycling things. So we have a world-class climbing wall that was built here by the International Speed Climbing Association for one of the NEOM Beach Games events. And they generously agreed to leave it, and we can now repurpose that for everybody from beginner climbers to advanced climbers to use down there. We do mountain biking, and again, we do that from every level of. We've got what's called a pump track, which is, children can go on very small bikes and go around, and it's sort of a starter track that people go around, and it sort of bumps up and down, through a more developed mountain bike learning course. And again, they graduated, a little like the ski runs where you are in Davos. There's gradiated green, blue, red, black. It gets harder and harder. That can be practiced kind of within the sports village land space. And, we then can transfer people out into the real nature where they can really get into mountain biking, up in the mountains or in the desert. So we've got a pretty broad range of things people can come and get involved with. And that's on top of, obviously, people can go hiking. They can go down the trails that nature have already got laid out. And within the communities, I'm a member of several community groups. We play quite very active touch rugby group, for example, and there's other people playing pretty much every type of sport and physical activity you'd imagine. I often say to people, if you thought of a pretty impressive university sports campus, NEOM would be pretty similar to that, with a coastline that most places wouldn't have.
Yeah, and one thing to note about livability, we do, some of us at least, go back and forth from cabins to work, walking, and that's there's a lot of movement having inside the community and outside. All right, I'm open for questions. If anyone has any question, yeah. Do you have another mic? Okay.
Thank you. My name is Jamil Alimad, and I run a VR media company. Amazing work you guys are doing in NEOM. My question is two parts really. Is NEOM part of the GIA, Gen Entertainment Authority, or you have an independent strategy and decision making? And the second question is, the venues you are building, are they designed for global events that could be broadcasted around the world, or are they designed for the people that are resident in NEOM? Thank you.
Okay. So the first one, we work with, as I say, the Ministry of Sport and the GEA where appropriate. Although, to be honest, there's an entertainment sector at NEOM that would probably work much more closely day to day with the GEA. And I suspect Giles or the team in the room could give you more details on that post this session. In terms of what we build, I think the image behind you probably gives you a good answer. We built a running loop that's 3 kilometers long and a cycling loop, and a pontoon and access to the sea for swimming, for a world-class triathlon event with, as I said earlier, Olympic champions and world champions. That same infrastructure is now available for us here as employees that live here to use day in, day out. I can go and literally do the same route that they did, and be slightly embarrassed by how long it takes me versus them. But, that's an example where there is an asset that can be used by the community or can be repurposed, obviously, with a little bit more infrastructure for world-class events. And that's probably our approach for most of our assets. They're primarily being built for people to have an active lifestyle, and to be used at a more base level of activity, but we'll have assets that are specifically put in to allow people to progress and develop their talent and their skills. And we will also have some high-performance centres and high-performance assets that are more aimed at elite-level athletes. So a bit of a mix of everything.
Thanks, Nathan. We have another question.
Hi, Nathan. First of all, it's great to see cricket really coming into Saudi Arabia. We all know how popular it is with the Asian populations, but how have you seen it taking off with the Saudi demographic, the local population?
Yeah, we have, we started the workforce cricket program to reflect, the strong presence of Southeast Asian workers here. And, just to give you a couple of simple data points, we started with 2 pitches 2 years ago. We had 9 this year. We think we'll have 13 next year. And these are Astro ovals that would grace any sports campus. And that's enabling, significant participation to grow here. Obviously, that's a demographic that, know the game and are often playing, although, as I said, the women's side of that may not. Our opportunity locally has absolutely been to, use those facilities to bring the Saudi people here to try that as a sport. And schools particularly, you don't need one of the myths in cricket is you need a lot of equipment to be able to try it. A simple level, particularly the schools program that we've developed here, is very simple. It's plastic bats, plastic wickets, soft balls, and rolling that out as a program across the Tabuk region, working with the Saudi Cricket Federation is one of our key aspirations and programs for this year. So I think across all our sports, the real question that we ask ourselves is, what's the right way to make this accessible to the audience we have? And sometimes the answer to that for a local audience may be different from the expat audience. But we're very conscious of that. And that ties into that diversity point. That there's no point us developing a hardball cricket program that's only played by expats. That's not going to help us achieve what we want to achieve in NEOM and the region in particular. So I think we're always looking at, how do we provide that access for that breadth of audience.
Thanks very much, Nathan. Just one final comment for you in closing. There's obviously a lot of events that are coming to the Kingdom over the next decade. It'd be great just to get your thoughts on those, as we look to the Asian Winter Games and onwards.
Yes, we work very closely with the Minister of Sport and the federations to look at, what NEOM's role in supporting events can be. And they're bringing obviously some mega events, and we're unbelievably proud that, NEOM will have a World Cup stadium and be a World Cup host city in 2034. And we're extremely proud, that we'll host the next edition of the Asian Winter Games after it's about to take place in China next month. Will come here in 2029. So, we've already got, a couple of the highest profile events we could have coming. And we're working continually with the federations and the Ministry of Sport on what other regional or national events, is it appropriate to bring here to either take advantage of the landscapes, take advantage of some of the assets that we've already developed, or over time bring things here as our developments come on. So I think it's an ever evolving calendar, but we certainly see that range of community level activation events, more regional or national level events, and obviously then the mega events as they come, and they'll fit into what we have here. The one other aspect that I think is important to mention, and as you've got the commercial director, it would be very remiss of me not to talk, given you're also at the World Economic Forum, is the commercial approach we have to sport. We've talked a bit about sport being able to bring tourists and become and play its part in the destination strategy. But the development of the sports ecosystem in the Kingdom, requires a lot of infrastructure, a lot of talent, and in particular, there's a lot of money being spent on developing sport for all of the reasons that we've said about what sport can contribute to. We work very closely, for example, with the PIF sports team, particularly Surge, which is the PIF sports commercial and investment arm, to look at how can NEOM play a very active role in some of the broader opportunities for the kingdom to leverage, scale and efficiency to keep that investment, within circular economy internally. Somewhere like Oxygen, with its manufacturing zone and its port, can actually make NEOM, a very obvious place for certain aspects of that work to come. So whilst we've spent, I know rightly, a lot of the time on, how do we get people active and what are we developing to, contribute to livability, I think that business aspect of sport and what we're doing is a really important one, and it's certainly one that I spend a lot of my time on, alongside looking at how do we develop opportunities for people that will then generate revenue as well.
Amazing. Do we have some time for more questions? If we have, is there any other question? Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Nathan, for your time, and thank you for joining us live. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, everybody there.